So, do you believe your opponent in this race is qualified to be Assembly Member of District 1?
I do. He qualified, yes. Do I agree with what he states? No. He's qualified in the sense that he is the incumbent as of right now, and he has had the experience necessary for it.
And do you feel you have a chance in winning this election, and do you feel you're qualified to be Assembly Member?
Do I have a chance? No, almost certainly no. I'm not going to lie to you in that regard. Qualified, however, I do believe that I am in fact qualified. As strange as it sounds, and as with as little experience as I have in politics, I do believe I'm qualified. Simply because of the fact that I am a citizen of the state of California.
Sure. And if you win this election, what will be your top priorities as Assembly Member?
My priorities as an assembly member, as someone elected to a public position, I would like to try and represent the views of the county as of the assembly district, rather than my own personal views, regardless of what they may be. For instance, take like I said before, gun control and economics, both of which I have strong opinions on, but my personal opinion is not necessarily that opinion which I want to show and support and give to the rest of the assembly. My job is to express the views of the people who elected me.
Sure. And as an Assembly Member, how would you affect policy for your constituents?
Affect policy. I would try to get in touch with, I would try to get more intimately acquainted with, if you will, the people in my district. I would like, instead of making decisions off the cuff, if you will, to give a more comprehensive mirror of the thoughts and feelings of the people who would be affected by such legislation.
And I guess, I mean, you mentioned that you're young, you're a student. I guess as a voter, what accomplishments do you want voters to know that you've had that qualify you for this position?
Uh, I would like to point out that I have gotten a high school diploma. I received a high school diploma, if you will. And it did come with some honors, considering I was a very attentive student in high school, easily one of the hardest times in my personal life. And in addition, I have completed transfer requirements at a community college nearby me, and it allows me to leave a lot of doors open in regards to education for the future. I can now, at this point, transfer to any CSU or UC in the state of California, which to me expresses a certain commitment to education and personal enrichment.
And I guess as an Assembly Member, how would you help to support in the farming industry in Nevada County as well as the district as a whole?
Uh, Unfortunately, and ironically in a sense, I live in a rural county, and it does have a very high focus on farming. Unfortunately, as it stands, I would have to look into the views of the farmers in Nevada County and of the requirements as a whole of that area. I wish I could give you more information in that regard, but as it stands right now, I would have to say that I need to collect more information.
And I guess in closing, why should voters choose you over your opponent?
I would say that voters should choose me over my opponent because while I have strong personal opinions on matters, I am very much willing to put them aside, assuming that that is the wish of the populace that I am to represent. Uh, I'm willing to forego my own opinions for the sake of representing those who elected me.
And is that something you feel your opponent isn't doing?
I feel that most representatives on the state and national level are not doing.
And I think I was also curious, how has your funding been going as far as your campaign goes?
Uh, Funding is more or less non-existent. Uh, the only real funding you could say that I have received is that in the form of monies to finish the filing fees, or pay for the filing fees, if you will.
So is there, I guess, a reason why you haven't raised any funds for the race?
Honestly, considering uh, the uh, how would you say it? Considering the way this particular district is made up, being mostly Northern California, mostly Republican, if you will, uh, it would be almost a futile effort for me at this time to have attempted any serious effort in raising any monies.
Sure. And how does your family, particularly your father, feel about you running in this race? You know, you said that the party did approach him first.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what were the reasons why he didn't want to run?
Uh, my dad, in regards to this particular political thing, he's very supportive because he believes, as many people do, that the system we have now and the people we have in the system, the governmental system, of course, they aren't doing all they can to ensure the prosperity of the common man, if you will. Um, the reason why he was unable to take up this race, if you will, would be because he spends anywhere from 8 to 12 hours every day making certain that my uncle, who has Down syndrome, like I mentioned many times before, uh, doesn't get into any trouble because at a certain point, people with severe Down's syndrome, uh, they don't, or they lack the average cognitive abilities of you and I. And as such, they have a propensity to get into situations that can prove harmful for themselves or for others. In addition, my father has to perform renal dialysis on my uncle as well, since he went into renal failure a few years ago, based on the incorrect dosage that a doctor gave him of a particular medicine. And to answer the last bit of that question, if I'm not mistaken, he was approached in the first place because the Democratic Party was seeking someone who was intimately acquainted with the ins and outs of healthcare at the home level. My dad is in fact a member of CUHW, which is California Union Healthcare Workers Union, and they wanted to try and bring the people who are taking care of those who can't take care of themselves into the fold. And so that's why I believe the Democratic Party contacted my father in the first place.